So I want to start off by how I rig for these guys. Using a medium heavy action rod. Goodness gracious. Using a medium heavy power rod on 20-pound Cigar Red Label fluorocarbon. This is a 6.5-to-1 gear ratio reel and heavy structure jig by Booyah. Heavy wire hook, heavy wire weed guard, and a polymer knot. You guys know how to tie a polymer knot. It's pretty easy, but that's how I do it. I don't want to go anything below 20-pound fluorocarbon or 50-pound braid. I don't like using monofilament structure like this because it stretches on hook sets and it gives them an opportunity to get back in that cover. But I start off where you want to flip to, things like that. What do you want to look for, and when you get a bite, what you want to do. Pretty simple, pretty fun, very technical. You got to be careful you don't get snagged up. If you get a fish around cover, wrapped around a log and that kind of stuff. I'll show you what you need to do. Hopefully I catch a couple. I already missed 4 bites over there on that laydown right there. Broke off them on the Texas rig. So I'm going to switch to a jig and hopefully get a better hookup ratio with this guy right here. That way I can set the hook quicker, get him out of the cover, and he doesn't get snagged up and break me off again. So I already went over how you want to rig this bait. I'm going to go over where you want to flip to, what you want to do, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I'm using jig, heavy structure jig, flipping jig, 20-pound fluorocarbon, and a medium heavy rod. So in places like this, times of year like this, the water's starting to cool down, days getting shorter, nights getting cooler. So these fish are coming back up shallow. But the thing about this pond is it's had an algae bloom through the summer, so it's a murky color, really dark green. So these fish are going to be hugging tight to cover, as close as they can get usually, most of the time, unless it's low pressure, they're going to come out a little bit and feed, and in the morning. But so what you want to look for is the big laydowns where they come out onto the shore, like those ones over there and that one. Just missed it. The camera stopped recording. Got that guy right there off that laydown. I'm pretty sure this is not the one that bit me off before, but still a good fish on a jig. So here's what I did for that fish is took this jig, get it way back there tight, let it sink by itself, and then slowly started hopping it back, and that's when you did it. But make a series of casts to a certain laydown several different times because there may be several different fish on it. Another thing you want to watch out for when you're fishing laydowns with the jig especially is sometimes you get reaction bites, and this jig will fall and those fish will bite on the fall. And so you want to watch for your line swimming. And that's what he did in the last fish is when I threw it in there and it started falling, he bit it on the fall. Let him swim with it for a second. Make sure he has it, and then I set the hook. Another thing when you're fishing laydowns like this, a lot of people complaining about getting snagged up, and it might be because they feel a log and they set the hook, or they just get plain snagged up. Is when you get snagged up on a bush or you feel something like that, lift your rod tip up and over that. You don't come straight over it. Usually what that happens is when it comes straight over it and it falls, you'll get down. When fishing tight stuff like this, you want to keep semi-controlled slack on your line. So what that means is if I throw to a laydown, I want to follow that bait down with the line. I want to let it sink on slack line, but I want to be able to see what that line is doing, so I don't want a big old bow in the line. So I'll throw it out there, recover, reel down, watch my line sink, and then lift up slow. Don't pop it. Don't start fishing it too fast off the fall. Fish it slow off the fall. Usually that first cast is the tightest to cover. You want that fish complete opportunity to be able to see that bait before you reel it out and try another cast. And on that semi-controlled slack line, watch your line, because sometimes when it falls, they'll pick it up and swim to deeper water to be able to eat the crawfish. keep making a series of casts. Keep hitting certain points several different ways, and eventually you'll get big. Now, the funny thing about fishing laydowns is what most people do is they see what's on top. They don't see what's on bottom, so they don't make as many casts as they can. On that cast, I casted about 3 feet out from the tip of the laydown, and it felt more brush. And you want to be able to look for things like that, especially on low pressure days when these fish are feeding. They're pushed out a little bit more. They'll push out on the cover and sit on the end of it, because usually the bait fish will go around it and they'll ambush them from there. Another thing you can pair up with the jig is a Senko. Senkos are perfect follow-up bait, so if you pitch into an area, a fish hits it, but you are not able to get him, throw the Senko back up in there, skip it back up into that cover, and usually you usually get bit a second turn. Reel it so it's about a foot away. This I'm going to teach you how to skip real quick. If you don't know how to, reel about so it's about a foot away. And always look to where you're going, and then lower your rod tip lower to the surface of the water, and that'll cause it to skip. That'll help you get under the wood and close to the cover and close to where those fish are. Well, especially when fishing Senko. When you skip back up far into a piece of cover, you want to watch your line, especially. That's why I have high vis yellow line on this, is because when you skip a Senko back into cover, usually what will happen is you won't really feel the tick when it hits. You'll see your line swimming away. That's what you want to look for. So all I'm doing is just skipping as tight to this cover as I can, letting that line sink. And I have a certain amount of leader on here that I know that when that knot disappears in between my leader and my main line, I know it's at about 4 feet. My bait's 4 feet from the leader, so I start jigging it again, because where usually these fish are sitting is about 3 or 4 feet of water tight off these walls. Because in this lake, in the back cuts, these shoreline drops off, and they'll hug tight to that shoreline where branches come out and meet. So like a junction area, like over there. Back over here, you can't see that with the camera, but I'll point to it over here in a little while. But I'll try to get as tight to those as I can, get in those crotch areas. So sometimes you get the shore, and then a branch comes down. The fish will sit right here, right where those two things meet. So I'll try to get my bait as close to that as I can. And if I can't, then I'll switch up to something I can. There's a hit. See? Well, now I know that Senko won't cut it up tight to cover. So I'm going to flip my jig some more, hopefully get bit on that jig again. But if I don't, I'm going to pick the Senko back up and hopefully get bit on it again, but who knows. Perfect example of why you want to be able to skip lures is see how that branch comes out down into the water. You want to get underneath that where those fish are. I've had 4 bites or 5 bites come from that little area right there. can't grab this son of a bitch. Giant catfish. On a jig. On a frickin' jig. Well, that's not my target species for today, but that was fun anyway. There he is. Giant catfish on a jig. Get on out of here, boy. Well, that's not how you catch bass on a jig, but, well, it is, but a catfish ended up biting it, so I thought that was like a 10-pound bass. No, probably an 8-pound catfish. So I'm a little shooken right now. I thought that was a huge bass, so sorry if the camera's a little shaky, but that was a good fish. I got it on camera too. The whole thing. Wow, I didn't even know he bit it. Yeah, largemouth. Yeah, there's a bunch in here. Oh my goodness, I don't eat bass. I have too much respect for these fish. That's a nice bass on the jig though. Sweet. Another one. Another fish off that lady, same one. Beautiful fish. Look at that. Look at that fish right there. That's on a jig. Same off that lady again. 2 pounds 4 ounces on that guy. That's a good fish. It's 3.